Engage, enlighten, empower.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Create More Business Live. I am your host, Roderick Ferrier. A little bit about us here at Create More Business Now. We help you network with new prospects faster and with greater accuracy. We have some powerful marketing automation systems that communicate with your company's social media accounts like LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. And it automatically closes the gap between connection and client, adds value, shortens the sales cycle, and in the end, gives you more time to communicate with hot prospects right now because you know who's engaging with you, and we help you show that. Today, we are very honored and privileged and excited to have Mike Warren join us. Mike is the author of It's Not Just Coaching, Reaching Your Potential Through Consultative Coaching, and the principal founder of Alethea Strategic Business Solutions. He's the founder of Alethea Strategic Business Solutions, and it's a leadership and organizational development firm whose clients include Fortune 50 to 1,000 companies, entrepreneurs, small to mid-range companies, and startups. And Mike has served in executive roles in a wide range of industries, including food and beverage, financial services, media, manufacturing, real estate, and technology. And his area of expertise is developing entrepreneurs, business owners, executives, and leadership teams utilizing consultative coaching. And a few of the companies that Mike has worked with, just to touch on a couple here in the U.S. and internationally, you'll recognize names like American Express, Prudential, Clear Channel, Nestle, Coca-Cola, Procter & Gamble, Ben & Jerry's, Advantage, Claim Jumper, Qantas Airline, Bradshaw, Kelly Clark, Dow Corporation, Sunshine Biscuits, Nippon, Daily Foods, Unified Grocers, Sony Entertainment, Powerful Electric, Arbonne International, and many others. And guys, that's a mouthful. And like I said, we're honored and privileged to have Mike here to share with us how to boost your leadership skills in 4 easy steps. So today you will learn what leadership looks like in 2016 going into 2017, the 5 components of effective leadership, 4 easy steps to boosting your leadership skills. Mike, thank you so much for taking time again to be here. I'm going to turn presentation over to Mike, and we'll jump right into the meat of this presentation.
Thank you, Rod. I appreciate it. So my background is very diverse, and I started in business when I was very young. I'm 47 years old. I started in business when I was 16 as an entrepreneur, owning a service business in the food industry, and I have spent my lifetime in leadership roles, owning businesses, and being an entrepreneur. The meaning of Alethea and how I came up with that was, I'm Greek by heritage, and the word Alethea means the truth. And I've been known for the last 17 years in my coaching and consulting practice as the guy who speaks the truth. I don't hold back, and many people, they pay me to give them honest feedback. Alethea is an organization that specifically works in the organizational development, management, and coaching of small business owners, entrepreneurs, and executives. And we do something very special, which is called consultative coaching. The consulting side of it is where we actually give answers. We feed the ideas and the strategies to companies or executives, and we do the fishing for them. In the coaching world, we step back and we allow people to learn how to fish for themselves. Using both disciplines allows us to get our clients to the answers quicker and understanding how they got there and why they got there. So as I was saying, businesses these days don't have years of time to turn around. They have merely months. And using consultative coaching, we get people to the answers and then get them understanding why they're getting there and how to change their beliefs and notice blind spots and change their habits. So jumping right into this, today we're going to talk about leadership and what leadership is and how to identify it and some of the traits necessary to lead organizations. the last thing we're going to do is I'm going to cover 4 things that you can start right now to boost your leadership skills, along with some free gifts just for listening to the entire program. So normally when I do a presentation or a class like this PowerPoint is an hour to sometimes 3, so we can get into a lot of strategies. In this one, I'm going to give you guys an overview. We're going to keep it short and sweet, and then at the end, you can email me or call me, and we can discuss things deeper. So let's get started. So the real question is, what is leadership? And quite honestly, leadership is the ability to compel people to do and act in a complementary manner that accomplishes desirable organizational goals with integrity and respect. Quite simply, this means, people have to come together and they have to have a common goal and they have to work towards that goal. So there's 5 major components to what leadership is. And leadership, many people think leadership looks like the confident business person, at the head of a company, standing at the podium. Maybe they're the general of an army or possibly the president or leader of their country. But true leadership is only represented by these icons. True leadership is much more complex and has several moving parts. And leadership can also be good and bad. As we know, many leaders can lead people to places they would never venture on their own and do things they would normally never do, again, good and bad. And it has been proven time and time again that true leadership has the power to influence people to do things they would normally never have the courage to do on their own. To prove my point, what comes to mind when you think of somebody like Adolf Hitler? Is he a leader or not a leader? How about Abe Lincoln? What about Charles Manson, Donald Trump, Steve Jobs, Richard Branson, President Obama? What about Martin Luther King or Gandhi? Are these people leaders? I would say yes to all of them, but ask yourselves, do these people exemplify leadership? And that's for you to decide. How about you? Do you exemplify leadership in what you do? Do you get things done through your team, your family, your friends, even people that oppose you? Do you pull people along with you, or do you push them? What I refer to as push management or pull leadership. And are you a steady force behind your organization's transformation? Think about that for a moment while we move into the 5 major components. So there are 5 major components that make up leadership. They're creating a vision, cultivating a desirable culture, allocating limited resources, financial and human, communication, and ultimately getting results. Now we're going to break down each of these but before we do that, we first need to recognize that within these 5 major components, there are many skills and attributes that you need to possess from both a professional side and a personal side. And these include, and if you guys have a pen and paper, I'd write these down because they are, this list is extensive. And if you don't have one, at the end of this, if you email me, I will email you a list of what these are. These come from both like I said, the professional side and the personal side. Let's start with the professional side. A leader has to have high confidence and deliberation and low anxiety, which I'll challenge anybody who's in a leadership role to have low anxiety. The next one is the ability to motivate. There are also personal attributes that include caring, fortitude, perseverance, intelligence, nurturance, having sound judgment, and the most important, emotional intelligence, or what we call EQ, or the emotional quotient. From a style perspective, you have to have flexibility. You have to be adaptable to people and circumstances. From a task perspective, you have to be able to do conflict resolution, persuade people, have proper decision making, the ability to manage social relations, and the ability to teach. From the behavior side, you have to be able to welcome new ideas and manage information. You have to integrate people and build a community and manage productivity. And this approach includes rallying, rebellion, and taking charge. I don't know about you guys, but I'm exhausted telling you this list, and we haven't even covered the 5 major components yet. So let's get into that just a little bit deeper. The creating vision is one of my favorite areas that we work on. A vision identifies the organization's end state and gives people a direction and goals. A lot of times people don't even know what the vision of their company is. They have no idea. They've never sat down and looked at what the vision or mission or how the values support the vision and the mission. But what it does is it motivates and inspires everyone to a common cause and builds unity. It also enables people to link their activities and figure out how they contribute to the greater good. The next area is cultivating a desirable culture. How do you do this? And, how do you portray yourself to be, what your actions and words are? And you can do that good and bad. Words that you use have to convey confidence, respect, and authority, and actions must reflect the organization's values. One of the biggest ones that we probably see these days is the honest and integrity piece, which, is very subjective. And we see in the news constantly that, a CEO has done this, or an executive has done that, or the accounting principles have, broken down. And really that comes down to culture. Being honest and having integrity is one of the key elements that I believe is something that will change a culture for an organization to do good or an organization to not do good. Having the right energy, being open to style and welcoming all perspectives and instilling a sense of urgency. I don't know any organization that is in the sales, that has a sales department that is successful if they don't instill a sense of urgency. The next area is allocating limited resources, financial and human. Now, most businesses, the biggest number that shows up on their P&L is their human capital number. It comprises usually between 50 to 70% of what the allocation of funds are. This means you can't have any blank checks. And what do I mean by no blank checks? I mean that when people come to you and say, I've got an idea, I want to go down this direction, I want to explore this. Sometimes those decisions are very difficult to make, but oftentimes you can't just give somebody a blank check, which falls into the no unlimited supply of personnel requisitions. The other one is the role of tiebreaker and competing interests. Something that leaders have to do constantly is intermediate between two highly successful executives in their team that want to go in different directions. And a lot of times they have to sit and make decisions about who is going to get the resources allocated to them to go in the proper strategy that is part of the mission and vision of the organization. And that's where analytic skills really come in and play a big piece in this. There are only so many resources that can be allocated, and a great leader recognizes this and uses proper strategy to leverage financial and human resource to accomplish that mission. Having the analytic skills necessary to be able to recognize when this can make or break the ability to carry out the mission is critical. And team building, which I think is I work in a lot of organizations, some very large with over 100 to 200,000 employees in them. And team building to convey the bigger picture is something I often see that people are lacking. And it's really comes down to, proper communication and being able to paint the picture for people and then getting them to follow you. The next one is, as I was just alluding to, is the communication. Talking the talk is one thing. And as we know, a lot of leaders or so-called leaders will stand up in front of a group and they'll say a lot of things that, initiatives that are going to come down the pipe 3 months from now, 6 months from now, 12 months from now. And many times those initiatives get changed or they just never happen. And in those situations, what happens is that people lose confidence in you. They lose confidence in their ability to follow you. They don't believe what you're going to say. So walking the talk, what I call walking the talk, is something that is imperative out there for you to do if you're going to lead any type of organization. And being able to connect with your team. If you're an executive at the highest level, a CEO, a CMO, a CSO, a COO, you're going to have a team of people that are below you most of the time, unless you're in a small business with very few people in it. But if you're in a large organization, connecting with your team is one of the most important things that you can do. Consistency is the key to walking that talk. Following through on doing what you say and showing by doing is the trait of a great leader. And this is supported by the next three items, which is, like I said, connecting with your team, conveying your vision, and reinforcing your organizational value. Now, ultimately, these 5 components end with, the scoring the touchdown, what I call getting results. Winning in the regular season opposed to winning championships, it's really important because it gets you to the playoffs. But winning championships is what all great leaders are judged on. If you win just enough in the regular season but fail to make the playoffs, or you make the playoffs and continue to fall short of a championship, you'll be judged as always coming up short. I don't know how many teams have done that where just recently, let's take a look at the Golden State Warriors. These guys won more games in the NBA than any team in history has, and lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers in Game 7 of the NBA championships just a few days ago. They have the number 1 player in the NBA on the team. This guy is a leader, Stephen Curry. What happened to them? How did they come up short? And these are the questions that you have to ask. So is his leadership in question? That remains to be seen. But again, winning in the regular season is great, but unless you win championships, you're going to have a really hard time, convincing people that you can continue leading an organization or your business, profitably or into the future. And this requires, direction. It also requires your ability to act and compelling people to act. And most importantly, getting results is about being able to see the future. A lot of leaders that we've studied over the years and that I've studied have had great foresight and have been able to call markets and direction of where their businesses are going long before it happens. And this is something that comes a little bit instinctually, but most of the time this comes from knowing your industry and studying your business and looking around to seeing what is available out there to you and understanding trends. Thinking and seeing the future is very, very, very important. And a lot of that has to do with picking your battles and picking battles that are challenging, but giving you the opportunity to win and then going out and winning some. So we're going to switch gears here, and I'm going to get into the 4 easiest ways to boost your leadership skills. And I want to tell you, there are lots of ways to boost your leadership skills. These 4 are just 4 very basic ones that I think you could start today in your business, in your life. And on another note, it doesn't just mean in your business. These are things that you can do in your life. Leadership is not just pertaining to business. It's pertaining to everything you do. The things that we've talked about, the integrity, the honesty, the seeing in the future, the compelling to act, all of these things, they play into leadership, and it goes into your families, your kids, your churches, if you're religious. It goes into everything you do. So when I get into these, just think about, when I use words like team, your team could be your family. It could be your parents. It could be I play in a softball league every Tuesday night. It could be your softball league. I mean, there's a million ways to do it. So here's where I'm going to give you the 4 easiest ways to boost your leadership skills. The first one is getting to know your team. The second one is helping a coworker out. And the third one is taking initiative. And the fourth one is asking for more. Now, let's get into that. And before I do that, I want to read you something from Business Insider that I found very interesting. According to the annual Global Millennial Survey, most young workers, and I'm saying 2/3, are planning to leave their positions by 2020. And 71% of the people planning to jump ship in the next 2 years will be doing it because they feel there aren't enough leadership development resources available at their current organization. While that's a clear indicator that companies have a lot to improve on their ends, a lack of clear opportunity isn't always a good reason to leave a job you like. There are plenty of ways to develop your leadership skills, even if there aren't any official programs or tracks in place for you. Because being a leader isn't about having the boss title, it's about stepping up and becoming the kind of person that others aspire to be. So because you shouldn't have to leave your job to find chances for growth in your career, here are the ways to create those opportunities for yourself no matter where you work. Let's get into getting to know your team. All good leaders know their team members, and I mean all of them. They know their strengths, their weaknesses, and how people can best complement one another. You know, synergy is a big focus in getting to know your team, and synergy is a big focus on how to get your team to perform at their highest level. Knowing how to team people up in groups of 2, 3, 4, 7, 10, and knowing who has strengths and who has weaknesses, and utilizing those people to work together and not work against each other is vital. I'm not saying you guys need to make some, Devil Wears Prada style flashcards or, of everyone's information, but just starting with simple conversations and building from there. It's very easy to take the time to really get to know somebody in your company, but it's also important to get to know your company. Its mission, its vision, its history, its values, the industry it's in, and the departments and people that keep it all going. But most important, you got to use your listening skills. And listen, even if bonding with coworkers doesn't always come naturally to you, you need to do it. And think about this. Think about your boss. Do you think they got where they are now without doing the research or understanding the context of their work first? I guarantee you they did not. And I'll tell you, this can be challenging. And if you're somebody that is shy and struggles a little bit, getting to know people, try and get out of your comfort zone a little bit. It's hard to do at first, but once you get going, it becomes very easy. Create time on your calendar and make sure it happens. It doesn't matter if it's a 30-minute lunch or just 5-minute, coffee run with somebody, but you need to take the time to get to know the people on your team. And I'm going to add to this, get to know people that are not on your team. A lot of people say, just know the people that are in your group. I'm going to tell you, I think that's a vital mistake. Your ability to communicate with people in other departments and get people on your side is crucial. So the next one leads right into that, and that's helping a coworker out. Have you noticed anyone who's super busy or stressed out lately around you? This is the perfect opportunity for you to offer your spare time to help them out, or take on some of their tasks. And I don't mean take on a big project, but if somebody is struggling to find something or needs a resource that maybe you have access to, there is absolutely no harm in helping that person. In fact, it could really help your career and boost your leadership skills. No matter where you fall in the hierarchy, you still need to be embraced as a team player, and you need to embrace it mentally. And that means recognizing the value of working together toward a common goal. One of the big pieces of this is maturity. And if you have the maturity to prioritize what's needed most and respond to that, the benefits that are going to come to you are going to be great. Here's the bonus for this, I'm pretty sure everyone would love you because an extra hand is almost always appreciated. The more you do and the more you give, the more you get back. The next one is taking initiative. You can always go above and beyond at your current job by taking on more responsibilities around the office. I truly believe that. And the more you do, the more you learn about your workplace and what makes it run smoothly. If you notice something lacking at your company, you can easily flex those management muscles that this talk is trying to help you strengthen by recognizing small weaknesses and developing plans to address them. Just breaking off for a second, developing a plan is one of the greatest strategic moves you can ever make, especially in your leadership development. Think about who you want to be, how you want to be perceived. Self-awareness is a large key to this. Knowing yourself, but also social awareness is a huge key. Understanding and knowing how people view you and what they believe in you. So being able to address those weaknesses and developing plans to address them is a key to that success. And they can range from being good for long term. You can help somebody write a training manual or reorganize something on their desk. I mean, it could be something small, but it's about helping people out and showing somebody something they haven't seen before, something they need with. These acts can be both big and small, but what it does is it shows your bosses that you're a self-starter. And even more, it advocates for your coworkers by helping them out. Here's a quick story I'll tell you guys. A company I founded several years ago with two of my former partners, we formed a company and turned it in from 3 people into a multi-million-dollar financial services company in less than 4 years. We literally went from 3 guys in a garage to several thousand and over 400 offices in 22 states. While we were doing this, we had been moving from office, to office and getting bigger spaces and bigger spaces. And during that time, we had a couple other companies leasing space from us in the buildings as we were growing. There was a girl that worked as a receptionist for a company that was leasing space for us, and this girl would go out of her way to show all of our new hires where everything was located in the office, how to operate machinery, where to get what they needed, and a million other things. Now keep in mind, she didn't work for us. We didn't pay her. She never asked for anything, including money. She did it because that is who she is. And I'll tell you, after a few years, I sold my position in that company and moved on to a CEO position in another industry. And guess who I recruited as the head of my training and development for my new assignment? That's right. I recruited her. And today, she's a true leader. I worked with her for about 2 years and, helped her develop and sharpen her leadership skills. And now she runs a multi-million-dollar company in Nashville, Tennessee. And literally it's because she would go out of her way to take initiative, help coworkers out, getting to know everybody in the organization, and ultimately where we're going to get to now is asking for more. And this is the one that I feel is probably one of the most important ones that you can do right now, today. If you started today working on your leadership skills, this would be it. At the end of the day, if you don't feel that you're growing enough at your company, quitting your job should not be your first impulse. If there's some opportunities out there to improve, you can consider looking at something new. But, listen, quitting your company without developing the skills that are available to you there and learning everything you can, I think is a mistake. And the best way to do this is by having a conversation with your boss that might shake things up and change some of your responsibilities. The key is not to go into the conversation on a negative note, but rather to come prepared with some specific ideas for ways in which you could work on your leadership skills. Maybe it's volunteering to lead team meetings, or suggesting mentoring to new employees, or if you're more of the behind the scenes person, like many people in large corporations, helping somebody, with projects and plans and manuals is a great way to do it. If nothing else, the conversation is a great practice for advocating for yourself. I mean, think about it. No one has ever solved a problem by ignoring it, and chances are your boss will really respect you for your dedication to the company, enthusiasm if you're taking on more. One of the things that really sharpened my leadership skills over the years was public speaking. This was something that, asking for more was very difficult. Now, I'm not a shy person by nature, but in all my tests, I don't come out as an extrovert. I'm actually kind of a private, introverted person. For me to get up and speak in front of people, was really hard at first. I'd have the butterflies, the sweaty hands, the palpitating heartbeat, and sometimes anxiety that would make me want to black out, literally. And I learned that getting up in front of your peers and employees and bosses and audiences that don't know you, or some that intimately, do, sharpens your leadership skills greatly. It changed my life, as a leader, and now that's why I take every opportunity to speak, coach, or teach in front of an audience that I can. And how I had to do that was I had to ask for more. I had to ask people when I was in very early management areas with American Express and Prudential and New England Financial. I had to go to my bosses and literally ask them to present to larger groups, and I was terrified to do it. But nothing sharpened my skills more than taking that initiative and asking for more. So, I want to leave you guys, I want to leave you all with this. And like I said, I cut this presentation down, from usually an hour and an a half to try and fit it in within 30 minutes. And I'll just tell you, there's a million ways that you can boost your leadership. But, leaders don't just happen because other people made them that way. It takes practice. And you have to look hard enough and get creative. And you'll notice plenty of hidden opportunities all around you to strengthen your leadership muscles if you just don't sit around and wait for it to happen. You have to make it happen. You got to get up and you got to do something. You have to get active. If you sit there and hide in the shadows all the time, you will never, ever, ever increase your leadership skills. So with that, I hope you all have enjoyed your time with me and have learned a couple things new. I have a few gifts for you guys. And listen, here it is. I have a free leadership assessment. In fact, I've got several assessments that I give to my clients when they come on, and they spend a lot of money on these assessments, usually thousands of dollars for me to give them an assessment and then break it down and spend a few hours with them. I'm going to give you guys a free leadership assessment just for hanging out and listening to me. I'm also going to do this. Once you take that leadership assessment, you can self-score that, and you can send it to me. And I will give you a free 30-minute consultation either on the phone or by Skype, and we can talk about whatever you want. If you want to talk about the leadership assessment and what it means to you, that's great. If you want to talk about the 120-degree heat in Southern California, that's fine too. I'm okay with that, but I'd really like you to get something out of 30 minutes. That's a free consultation. You can use that at any time, after this, after we're done here. And then ultimately, my book will be coming out sometime in October. I'm going to give you guys a free copy of my book, and I'm going to pay for the shipping of it. So if you find me on LinkedIn or email or or on my website, you can find me anywhere there. I will honor that for as long as you are engaging with me. So the other thing I wanted to tell you is I have some handouts that usually go with this presentation. If you want some of those, email me for those, and I'll give those to you as well. But I really want to thank you for your time. And if you have any questions and want to speak to me or hire me for a company event, or you're looking for coaching for someone you work with or yourself, just go ahead and email me at mwarren@asbizsolutions.com. It's on the bottom of the screen right there, mwarren@asbusinesssolutions.com. And once again, thank you and good luck in your quest to become the best leader you can be. Bye for now.
Mike, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. Guys, I'm going to have this information up here shortly at createmorebusinessnow.com. You can visit Mike's page. There will be an opt-in box that you guys can simply put your email address to get access to these wonderful gifts that Mike has said that he would honor, so that way give you a simple and quick way to get in touch with him. Until next time, guys, thank you again. We will be back live on Thursday this week at 12, and again Tuesday next week at noon.
Engage, enlighten, empower.